Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're starting the week on a very negative note. This morning, breaking news from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the Nigerian economy has contracted further by 2.24% year on year. In real terms, this was lower by 0.18 points from growth recorded in the preceding quarter. Take a look at the oil and non-oil sector. Now the oil sector contributed about 8.19% of total real GDP, down from the figures recorded in the corresponding period of 2012 and the preceding quarter of 2016 by at 10.27 and 8.26% respectively. The non-oil sector contributed 91.81% to the nation's GDP, and it was largely driven by activities of agriculture, particularly crop production. So agriculture contributed about 24.09%, and overall to the GDP was about 28.65%, I beg your pardon. And so the contribution from the mining and quarrying sector to real GDP in the third quarter stood at 8.34%. So we'll be chewing over those numbers in the course of the program and in the course of the week. Of course, another story we're tracking for you is the CBN Monetary Policy Committee having its two-day rate setting meeting, the last for the year, starting today in the nation's capital, Abuja. Of course, Channels Business News is on ground and we'll be covering that for you. But here's the poll question we've got for the week. What's your outlook for the final monetary policy rate decisions in 2016? Is it policy rate tightening, policy rate easing? Do you expect nothing to be done, or none of the above? Of course, you can find this particular poll on our Twitter handle. That's at This Morning. So let's get to know what your thoughts are. We're already getting comments on this particular poll we've put out for the week. And if you've got any other issues that you'd like to talk to us about, I'm at CTV Harriet. Abi Bolson will be glad to mind your business. And of course, you can tweet at This Morning and at Channels TV, and send us an email to businessmorning@channelstv.com. So let's take a look at how some of the oil and gas stocks we track for you fared for the week just ended. This, of course, is going to be trade as that ended on the Nigerian Stock Exchange on Friday. We see that there was lackluster movement towards all of the oil and gas stocks we track, about 7 of them. We didn't see any change to corn oil, Forte Oil, Mobil or MRS, but you can see the number of shares there that were exchanged by investors. Owando appreciated 4.76% to close at 3.96 kobo at the end of Friday's trade, with over 1 million shares traded by investors. Seplat dropped 5% from a share price to close at 342.95 kobo. So let's see cumulatively how the oil and gas stocks fared for the week just ended. Week to date came in at minus 7.42%. Year to date is at minus 22.71%. Price to earnings at 17.8%, and dividend yield is at 2.5%. So we're still talking about the economy. On Thursday last week, Nigerian bankers held their annual dinner, playing host to, of course, different dignitaries, including the central bank governor, Emefiele. In a lengthy 40-paragraph speech to the high-profile banking community, Emefiele speaks on the state of the economy, the volatile exchange rate market, interest rates, and of course inflation, among other things. But let's take a look at some of the highlights of what he said. Now, according to the governor, Nigeria recklessly spent FX inflows since 2008. An estimated $6 billion sold yearly to bureau de change operators for what he says were, quote, frivolous reasons. And the FX reserves is at, were dropped from 62 billion naira in 2008 to about $37 billion, not naira, dollars in 2014. And according to him, Nigeria sells an estimated $66 billion to BDCs over 11 years. But let's broaden this conversation with Channels Business News editor Bolson Omofaye. Bolson, it's great to have you on the program.
Good morning. Thanks for
it's been a while.
Thanks for dragging me here.
No, it's been a while we've had this combo, but then, in light of what's going to be happening this week, I think it's a very good way for us to tee off the GDP numbers coming from the National Bureau of Statistics, the MPC meeting starting meeting today. We have the Capital Markets Committee meeting as well much later this week. But taking a look at the keynote remarks from the governor of the CBN at the annual bankers dinner. I forgot to mention that when I was speaking. What are your thoughts on his remarks? Because he mentioned quite a number of things, talking about reckless spending of FX inflows since 2008 to frivolous, to actually selling dollars to BDCs over the last 11 years, and according to him, it's for frivolous reasons. What do you make of all of this?
I think it's a three-part speech that he delivered, and everywhere in the world, whether it's in the UK and the US, actually you find central bank governors speaking to bankers once a year, basically towards the end of the year, in which they will speak very lengthy. Sometimes they give an idea of what is to come in those speeches for the next policy meeting or where the direction of policy will go. So this is not an exception, and this is the third time Emefiele will be speaking since he took office in June 2014. But again, if you look at this, it's a three parts. He was speaking to the past, he was speaking to the present, and he also spoke a little bit to the future. Yeah. So if we look at it from the past, if you look at 2008, just as we finished bank consolidation, in which you have massive inflow of foreign exchange, of foreign currencies into the banking system and the financial markets as a whole, the banks in Nigeria became very liquid. We finished the bank consolidation in 2005, 2006, 2007, the stock market boom came, and we had so much, dozens of billions of portfolio investments into Nigerian markets. So the economy came in with so much money, and the bank consolidation opened the window or the doors for that. But what happened, and according to what Emefiele put in perspective, was that we frivolously or recklessly spent that money. And what did we do? We just opened licenses, and everybody started getting bureau de change licenses, and we were giving out or selling to different classes of BDCs. At the point, we had what he referred to Class A Bureau de Change. Those are the big boys, Class A Bureau de Change, where they were getting about $1 million every week for doing absolutely nothing. And they were not investing this money in the economy. They were not building roads. They were not building bridges. The BDCs were not constructing, were not doing any infrastructure. They were not building factories. They were not building hospitals. So we gave out, as he put it in his speech, about $6 billion a year over an 11-year period. Now look at how massively we fork out this huge oil and inflows from the portfolio investment and from the oil windfall. So we're just giving out this money to a non-productive sector, quote unquote. They were not creating jobs. So you find that at a point between 2008 and 2014, Bureau de Change became one of the highest employer of labor, because you just need to have a few boys and guys, boys and girls in the offices, and
jobs, but in a queer kind of way, not in a direct way.
They were just paying salaries because the job was created on the back of FX that we are giving out the currencies we don't print. Now that's to the past. To the present, we have now to manage the scarcity of funds we have on our hands. As soon as we exit the debt club in 2006, we had FOREX reserves of about $62 billion. By the time Emefiele took office, that had come down to less than 40, about 37. As of today, we're talking about 25.